Hello and welcome to the midday show. And it's very strange because I don't see any sign of Russ. He did pop up briefly in the green room a moment ago, but he seems not to be here now. So very, very bizarre. A new location today. I'm live from the head office of Boy Motors, which is a wonderful local company, thriving in the area. And anyway, so this is kind of curious. Where is Russ? I wonder. Where is Russ? Let's do some of your comments. Robert Van Buren. Hello, Neil. Now, I did see Russ pop up a moment ago, so I'm just going to check the technical side of things. So if you can bear with me for a couple of seconds. Well, that was my technical prowess showing itself there. Here he comes. Here he comes. Good morning. How are you? Good morning, Russ. It's the midday show. I think we've got a few technical problems at Russ's end. I did see you pop up. Get my producer to message you to see where you were, but can you hear us okay? Can't hear. All right. You can't hear me say anything, no?
Hello?
We can hear you.
No.
Yes, we can hear you. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Can hear you loud and clear. Hope you had a nice weekend, whatever you did. Really, really hot. 32 degrees, the daytime high today. So you're probably sweltering somewhere. I'm in a new location today. Let's pop round and saw the fam. So I'm in a different location, head office of Boy Motors. Internet not working for me, says the midday show. That's Russ. I don't know if you want to log out and Russ, I'm so sorry about this. We shouldn't be doing this live, but there's nothing we can do. It's what the technology will allow. Russ, are you able to hear me? No, he's not. Okay. Just me then. What? He's going to log out and come back in again. Well, pop your comments up. What did you do over the weekend? How did you celebrate this sweltering weekend? I had a couple of gigs. I did one on Thursday, which was at a sailing club, which is great fun. And it's the end of the kids. I say the kids, not young kids, but teenagers season. So they're there with all their parents. And my goodness, the parents like to party and the kids do. So that was absolutely great fun. And the problem is when you're doing a DJ gig with kids, the problem is you have to cut. If one of them comes up and asks for a song and you say yes, and it's probably something obscure they've heard on TikTok, they'll all be up. It's like a kind of hive mind. And then you kind of lose the room. It's a bit sort of DJ speaky, but you kind of do. So you have to start saying, no, sorry about that. But then you have to balance that because suddenly the kids will come up with something amazing and you think, how do you know that? And this little girl, she can't be more than 8, she's there with her parents, and she came up to me and she said, you got any history? History? That's not a term you should know. But she did, and I did, and I'll just translate that for those not in the know. History is it's classic dance music. There's kind of really old history, sort of the 90s dance bangers, then there's the newer stuff, sort of the noughties and the 2010s, but they can both be history. So Rihanna could be history, but as could Robin S. Show Me Love, if you know that song. Asa Don Brown, hello sir, you psychological genius, you. Really good to have you along. Always like to see you on the timeline. Robert Van Buren did sod all Neil. That's nice. Thank you very much indeed for that. And Fat Scotty says, phew, Scorchio. Thank you, Scotty, for presenting with me. I would actually like to do that again because you're a really good presenter, Scotty, and I really enjoyed working with you. Not that I don't enjoy working with this one on a Monday. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now, fella? Okay, we'll go back to the comments then for a bit. Spent the weekend at Barry Island. Where is Barry Island? Do I need to do a quick Google? No. In fact, you just tell me, Kimmy. That'd be easier. Relaxing weekend. Good day from New York. Did sod all. Okay. Thank you, Graham. It wouldn't be long before you kick in with your comments and observations. What do you like with semaphore? I'm probably better with metaphor as a wordsmith. But thank you for that. What else have we got here? Oh, South Wales. South Wales. Very nice indeed. Oh, it must have been lovely down there. Very nice. I've been to South Wales. I haven't been to Barry Island. I spent a holiday in a caravan in my mate's auntie's front garden. And it was really lovely. She cooked us all a meal. Then we went in the caravan in her front garden and got absolutely wrecked, which was good fun. And she didn't know. Probably. She knew. Hello, Russ. You're muted. He's muted at the moment. So I will just keep going. So what else? What else happened over the weekend? Pray tell. Pray tell. I had a good saw a good meme. Oh, here we go. Fat Scotty, no gigs, but a marathon. Wow, 5-hour live show on Saturday night in the studio with no aircon. Moist. That's a word that radio people love and most people hate. I don't know exactly what you're doing, Fat Scotty, using words like that. Don't think I don't know what you're up to. The reason how I know is because I do it myself. I saw Fiddler on the Roof on Friday and had my family around on Sunday celebrating my birthday last week. If I were a rich man, tradition. It was Topo, wasn't it, in Fiddler on the Roof? Yes. Well, the film originally. You probably didn't see that version. Although you might have in the past. Just kidding. Don't know how many candles you're burning, Graham, but a very happy birthday to you for last week. Yeah, I don't wash my hair in the shower anymore because it said on the shower bottle for extra body and weight. So that's why I've been gaining weight. I use detergent now, which says removes fat. Thank you very much indeed. Read over the weekend an alarming rate of 18 to 25s unable to work through mental health. Well, that's a serious subject. Yeah, mental health is a massive. I mean, the conversation is happening, and it's not a moment too soon because it is a very, very important thing. And certain things can be taught as well. Certain disciplines, certain things can be taught that we can use to improve our mental health. Gratitude, for example, that's one, or journaling, or many, many things. Physical exercise. There's an awful lot we can do to help us with our mental health. But I think part of the problem is there was no training around it at all. Literally, it's changing now, but there didn't used to be very much training. And the best we had was sort of getting on a waiting list and waiting 6 to 18 months for CBT, which is not bad, and it does work. It's just a very, very long process.
Hello, everybody.
Good afternoon. How are you?
Well, interestingly, the internet failed for some reason. And then for whatever reason, I had no volume. I couldn't hear a word you were saying. It looked marvelous, but I had no idea. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Midday Show.
Mate, you missed my seminar on how to have the best sex ever. Sorry about that.
Oh,
it was good, wasn't it, everyone?
Did it last? Was it in real time? So what was it, about 30 seconds? Or
well, it lasted 7 minutes, which is not bad at my age.
Wow. 7 minutes. Was that including dinner first?
And a movie.
And a film. Then obviously a slow walk back to Neil Longie, and then bye-bye.
It was lovely.
Thank you very much, Fat Scotty. It's very frustrating.
Do you know Scotty's good? He's a great presenter, isn't he?
He's an excellent presenter.
Can we have him? Can we have him again, please?
You absolutely can. You can have him whenever he is available. If you want to double hand with him on a Wednesday, you'd be more than. It was Kimmy's disappointed, and she said, "Where's he gone? It was over too soon." It's a lot about what? It was a lot about plungers. And it was over too soon.
I don't know what goes on in America, Racer Don Brown.
Good God Almighty. Dear God. Right. Now, tell me, did you watch the closing ceremony last night?
Some idiot did a stunt and they tried to jump into the crowd, didn't they?
Oh, I didn't see that. That was just
that was Tom Cruise.
That was Tom Cruise, you fool. No, God, if you bought a copy of Encyclopedia Britannica and looked up the word boring, there'd just be a picture of that. God, it was dull. God,
I'll be back in a minute. I'm just going to Google what Asa Don Brown said about plungers. Hold on.
He's either talking about plumbing. Here's the thing: Bless the athlete, all the athletes for doing what they did. Is that rude? What's the matter? Uh-oh. Neil Long is shocked, and that takes something. God only knows. What's going on, fella? What's going on?
Nothing. I just googled plungers. Don't know how those long winter nights must fly by in America.
Yeah. Fat's got. I got as far as the French orchestra murdering the French national anthem, which is very hard to do, right? It was my attempt to become. You stick to.
No, it was very good, Asa Don Brown. I took the feed line and I came back with the punchline, and you opened the door for me, so thank you for that.
Blimey! Now, it was dire. It was so slow, and it was lovely. You know, all the athletes wanted to get a hello, and they all came on. And you know, they've worked for 4 or 5 years. God knows, dedicated their life. I got nothing against the athletes, apart from the Australian breakdancer. It made you and I look like Usain Bolt at his peak fitness. I don't see anything like it. It was fantastic, fantastically awful. Anyway, it was just madness. Did you see it, Longie? The Australian breakdance. Oh, geez, you got to look it up.
No, I've seen very little of the Olympics.
Imagine Miranda Hart in a sketch, and someone says, "Miranda, you need," or the late great Victoria Wood, go in and do Olympic breakdancing, and the wonderful Victoria Wood or Miranda Hart. That's what they would have done.
Oh, fantastic.
It was terrible. It was so bad. It was genius.
Graham.
What's going on?
He's being rude and inappropriate, Russ. I can only apologise.
I thank God I'm here to raise.
What with his fiddler on the roof?
Hey, would it spoil some vast eternal plan?
If I were a rich man.
So anyway, so the closing ceremony, the opening ceremony, just seeing people going up in boats. That was dull, and then it got repulsive and stomach churning, and then the rest of it was just until Celine Dion. It was just, oh my God! And I thought, well, the closing ceremony, they must have learned, must be a bit better. It was mind-blowingly dull. I actually switched over at one point to Antique Roadshow. It was better and more. I did. It was more exciting. Thank God for Tom Cruise. That's all I got to say. For doing what he did, because that was the only interesting part.
I mean, was he invited, or does he just kind of rock up at these places for publicity and do stunts?
No. Remember that the Olympics in 2028, please God, we're all still here, is in Los Angeles. So it was fabulously appropriate that they did that. Then they cut to previous recorded of him. Oh, look, I'm bleeding. That's nice. And him on a motorbike with the Olympic flag racing through Paris. And then he runs up in a big cargo plane and he leaps out and he skydives onto the Hollywood sign. And then they pull, you see him doing some DIY from B&Q. And then they pull back and they got the Olympic logo on the Hollywood sign. That was very cool. And then they had the Red Hot Chili Peppers, who show there is always a time to retire. God,
you're not a fan of the Peppers?
I think they are one of the most overrated bands ever. I never got them. Never. Chad Smith is a fantastic drummer. I love it when he's doing his Buddy Rich stuff. They're musically, they're good, but I just think they're a terrible band. I've always thought they were a terrible band.
Graham, yeah. I'm not putting that comment.
Graham, that's horrible. Stop it. Seriously, stop it. That's just no. That's just ghastly. Absolutely not. Anyway, so Red Hot Chili Peppers, Billie Eilish, I'd rather go and have another colonoscopy. And who else was on? Somebody else I didn't want to see. Anyway, thank God, it's finished. Well done, athletes. The athletes were great. Watching the sport was quite fun. That was good. The rest of it was pants. And I'm going to say this, and it'll completely contradict our old former colleague, Mick Brown. All right? Mick Brown. I think Claire Balding does a great job. I don't know why. Mick Brown, I haven't spoken to Mick in many years, but I mean, I don't think we've fallen out. I mean, we just never met after Capital, really. And he always has a go at Claire Balding. I think Claire Balding is professional, enthusiastic. I think she does a great job, doesn't get hysterical. I really like her, and I think she's a terrific commentator. Well done, her. Okay. Absolutely right. Absolutely right. Which leads me on to my next question. Would you care to read this out Neil Long.
Tom Cruise abseiling wasn't the patch on her Dear Late Majesty skydiving in 2012. No, it wasn't, was it? I was a tad worried about the Peppers drummer looking like Keith Lard from Phoenix Nights.
Well, Chad Smith, of course, famously appeared alongside Will Ferrell, because people have said to him for years, you look like Will Ferrell. So on one of those late night shows, I can't remember which one, because they're all interchangeable, aren't they? Apart from Greg Gutfeld, my favourite. It's the only one I watch. They put Chad Smith next to Will Ferrell, dressed identically, and they had a drum off. And of course, Will Ferrell can't really drum, and Chad Smith's a great drummer. So it was good. God, they were just don't get it.
Do they look alike?
Yeah, kind of. Kind of looks a bit like Will Ferrell. Yeah. He gets. Yeah, they do. They do.
I'll put this one on, Graham.
Yes, that's a nice point. And when she does like the crafts and things, she's terrific. I don't know why people are rude about her. I think she's excellent. Really do. Really do. I'm going to stray, Neil Long, into very tricky, choppy waters. I'm going to ask you a question. And feel free to say, I don't want to talk about it.
All right.
Fat Scotty, Scott Lyons, of course, from the Midlands, brought up the subject of Her Late Majesty. The magnificent Queen Elizabeth II, one of the greatest monarchs this country has ever seen, or sadly will ever see. No one will come up even close. Do you think the royal family should stay out of politics?
I don't know. That's not a great answer, is it?
It wasn't the one I was hoping for, but yeah. Oh, thank you, Asa. Thank you.
Why do you think they
Thank
should?
you.
I take it you think they should.
I tell you why. We are living in monstrous times. Monstrous times. The fact that you can be arrested for observing a protest. Observing? What is this madness? Observing a protest. So you're on your way home from work. You're coming back from Radio Jackie you're coming back from a gig. You're coming back from a gig, right? You. And you want to get back to Long Towers. And there's a protest. It's nothing to do with you. You want to get home and you're stuck. What, they're going to arrest you because you happen to be stuck there? What is this madness, this Stasi police state?
When did that happen?
What is this?
What was that?
Well, have you not read any of this?
No,
That's why you're happy and I'm having a nervous breakdown. I'm serious. Do you not see what's happening? What they're now threatening the Commissioner of Police, Sir Mark Rowley, and I thought Cressida Dick was bad. Jesus Christ. This guy has said he will now extradite people from abroad if he doesn't like their posts on social media. Good luck with that, my friend.
Extradite them from abroad.
Yes, that's what he's claiming. I've never heard such nonsense in my life. What the hell does he think he's doing? The guy can't control London at the moment. He's going to start, and they're threatening. What I love is they're threatening Elon Musk. People like that appalling mayor that we have. They're threatening Elon Musk for telling the truth. It's unbelievable. They're out of control. It's taken a month. They're out of control. Out of control. What are we going to do about it? You see, you don't read this stuff. So you're happy. I'm very unhappy. Deeply unhappy. Deeply concerned. This is only going to go one way. And it's not going to be good.
Surely you can't extradite people for exercising their right to free speech.
Free speech? What, you don't like something on Twitter? But the guys, the people who yeah, you can. Well, you can't extradite. It's never going to fly. I mean, this is just nonsense. This is egomania at its worst. It's ridiculous. Ridiculous. The reason I mentioned the royals is we're going through this revolting period under Keir Stalin, and the whole thing, that we're having to endure. And I was really willing to give them a chance. I thought, well, it can't be any worse. Oh, I was wrong. I really was wrong. And King Charles started talking, and I thought to myself, your mother would have never said these things, which is why she was loved. We've lost faith in government. We've lost faith in politicians. We've lost faith in the police. What's his name? Welby. What's his first name? Justin Welby. My God. I can't even find the words to describe him. And I do not want to lose faith in the royal family. That would not be good. That would not be good. But it hangs on by the will of the people. And if you lose the will of the people, you got a major problem on your hands. Major problem on your hands. But you don't
So
feel
in your opinion, what's worse in the last month? I'm not saying I disagree with you.
What's worse?
Could you put some meat on the bone there?
I will choose my words carefully because, hey, I'd hate to be arrested and banged up. Since October 7th, we have endured march after march after march, people wearing hateful placards, screaming and shouting hateful things. Nothing. London brought to a halt nearly every Saturday since October. Nothing. Calling for death, calling for execution, nothing. No reaction. Right? People had enough. People just had enough. So then anybody who disagrees with all of this is a fascist. What a ludicrous term. Do they understand what fascism is? It's ridiculous. Can't call anybody you don't agree with, oh, you're a fascist. Or you're far right. This is what the mainstream media call anybody. Mums, dads, grandmas, grandpas, children. Oh, you're far right. No, you've just had enough. Maybe you're just right. And smashing up Greggs and stealing steak bakes is not the way forward. It's just stupid. That's just stupid. And destroys any valid argument. Unbelievable. I hate what's going on.
So what's the solution? The people are angry. You say justified.
People are furious. People are furious.
You say
the catalyst, the final straw that broke the back of the people in this country, I believe. 3 little girls murdered in cold blood.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Had the media stopped obfuscating and said who he was and what he was, the speculation would have gone away. It's a tragedy on a horrific scale.
But they couldn't release his name because he's under 18, isn't he?
But he's old enough to murder 3 little girls. I don't give a shit. I'm going to just say it. I don't give a shit. I don't care. I'm past caring. These get out of jail free cards, enough is enough now.
I'm not saying it justifies it. I'm saying it explains it. It explains part of it.
Maybe. So, 3 little girls murdered. Starmer and Home Secretary decide it's a great photo opportunity to go down to Southport and lay a wreath, right? They realize within seconds this is going very sideways because they're being heckled, understandably, by people who are horrified in this little sleepy town, right? Any decent person, Her late Majesty, any decent person would have turned round, spoken to the people there, tried to assuage their concerns, at least start a conversation. They didn't say a word. Photo opportunity going horribly wrong. They just marched away. Insulting. insulting. And then Starmer follows up with the most incendiary, divisive speech in modern politics. That speech will be seen in the history books, I believe, as a turning point. As a turning point in this country. Certainly his political career. And then he doubled down on it. It was the most ill-advised speech. And I started as a speechwriter. That was my job. The most ill-advised, ill-conceived speech. Shocking. And in a heartbeat, he threw the majority of people in this country under the bus. That's why it was awful. It was just horrible. He didn't have to say that.
What did he say?
I'm not going to paraphrase because that would be incorrect and inaccurate. Do you not know any of this, Neil? I'm serious. I'm not saying it in a rude way. I mean, I'm just...
I must admit...
I would like to live on your planet because that's why you're relaxed, you're happy, you're smiley. I am ready to emigrate. I'm that close to thinking, screw this, I'm off. Don't need this anymore. Go somewhere warm and sunny and just the hell with it. Really, had enough. What did he say? What he didn't say, that what a tragedy for everybody, that I'm going to look after everybody. What it came out as, and the way I'm being very careful, the way that it was interpreted was that you've got to protect the Muslim community. That was not the time to do that. Every community needs to be protected. Of course they do. Unless you want to march through central London and everybody else with, hate banners. That's fine, obviously. Of course that is. No.
I agree. However, but there was a backlash against the Muslim community, which was unfair.
Which was what? Which was what? What was it? What was this huge backlash by thousands of Nazis? Didn't happen.
Well,
didn't happen. It was fueled by the mainstream media. Didn't happen.
There was speculation, wasn't there, on social media that he was of Muslim descent, and that's when people started picking on the Muslims. And to be fair, he wasn't, and there was an awful lot of misinformation online, shall we say, and speculation, and it caused those reactions, which none of us want to see, particularly if it's not true.
But they could have just come clean and said what it was. They knew there'd be problems.
Who's they?
What?
Who's they?
The authorities. They knew who the guy was. It's not a mystery to them. They know who he was. They knew who he was straight away. And then it was compounded when they released pictures of this mass murderer, which is what he is, as a little child. What a load of garbage. What? You meant to feel sorry for this guy? They showed little school pictures of him. What about the school pictures of the 3 little girls who've been murdered? I mean, this is why
I don't disagree with you. It's horrible.
It's horrible. What are you trying to say? Oh, don't be upset because, look, he's a sweet little kid. No, they were taken years ago. And then you saw what he actually looked like. Yeah. No surprises. So all of this is just so horrible to endure and see. It's like a train heading into the buffers at 100 miles an hour. I just don't understand what's going on. Why are they doing this? But I'd rather be on your planet. It's much nicer than mine. Way nicer.
Well, it's just that I know it's going on, but I don't delve deeply into it. Why?
Do you not feel concerned?
Yes, concerned enough to be aware, but not so concerned I want to give my full attention to it and get so embroiled in it, it makes me unhappy, put bluntly, no. Call me selfish.
But, I'm arguing with myself here, Neil, and it's a real
millions of unhappy people isn't going to solve the problem.
Well, what is going to solve the problem then?
Not that.
Well, what is going to solve the problem? What do you do when you can't negotiate with people? You can't negotiate. What do you do when you want to be reasonable and get on with your life and the other people want to kill you? How does that work?
Well,
I
don't know. I don't know. But groups picking on other groups isn't going to work. It just doesn't work.
Tell that to the marches in London.
It hasn't worked through history.
Tell that to the endless times that London is hijacked.
And there were protesters for the opposite as well, you know, should we say, advocating for peace.
It has got me into a rage. It's got me very upset and pretty depressed about it because I can't see a way through it. And then I look across the ocean. All right, Kimmy. Let's
because it doesn't sell.
Doesn't sell. They tried it. Kimmy, they tried it.
Has been tried.
They tried. Some genius said we'd have a good news newspaper and we'd just put good, happy skateboarding ducks, you know, nice things. Died on its ass. Doesn't work. As Neil has a wonderful phrase, which he will now say.
If it bleeds, it leads.
Yep, there you go. If it bleeds, it leads.
They've tried positive radio stations as well. Nope. It just doesn't sell. But that's the thing. If people are consuming it, people are going to provide it. That's the thing. So we ask what we can do, or we can choose what we consume. What can we do individually? Turn the tide of this? No. But we can choose what we consume. We can choose what we tune into. We can choose where we get our information from. We can choose what we fill our minds with. That we can choose.
In 4 weeks, we've gone from free speech to now free speech for some people, but if it's not the narrative they want, you'll be arrested. Unbelievable.
So you're not allowed to give an opinion anymore?
Oh, it depends what that opinion is, Neil. If the government and the police think it's an okay opinion, you'll be fine. If they don't like it and decide to misinterpret it, who knows?
I just want to use Kimmy as an example here, if I may, just to buffer my point a little bit and see if you agree. I like to listen to positive radio and read positive media. Kimmy, why do you do that? And how do you feel after you've consumed it? We're talking on a totally personal level here. You're also what one person can do. The answer is do what makes you happy. Because if that's true, then if everyone did that, you'd have a world full of happy people, and we wouldn't be bothering.
No, this is hippy dippy nonsense.
Is it?
Of course it is.
So if the whole world was
one group of people who want world domination and subjugation, and everybody else wants to get on with their lives, what do you think is going to happen? What do you think is going to happen? Most people in Britain just want to be happy, get on with their lives, food on the table, watch Strictly Come Dancing, look after their family, pay the rent, pay the mortgage, the occasional treat. That's what most people want. That's all I want. Yeah. But what do you do, Kimmy, with people who hate this country? Hate it.
Yeah, I must admit, I've wrestled with this for a long time. I don't know.
They hate it.
People you can't negotiate
They hate us. They hate the West. They hate everything we represent. They hate women's rights. Everything that they hate, gay rights, which I mean, when I say Queers for Palestine, I just want to go, Jesus Christ, how stupid are you? It's nuts. Dave Sleep. In all things, people want to believe their assumptions and beliefs are right. So we'll eat up anything that gives them that sense of acceptance.
And yet, Dave, no one's got a monopoly on what's right or what's true. There's only what's true for us individually.
Do you think you should be able to marry a girl of 9?
No.
You've seen the law's been changed then?
Sorry, no.
The law in Iraq.
I'm sounding very misinformed today, and I apologise, but
There's
I really
nothing to apologise for. You're a happy person with the yin and the yang. I just see you're much happier than I am. In Iraq, the age of legal marriage has been dropped to 9 years old.
Wow.
You think that's morally correct?
No, because I don't know any 9-year-olds that would be able to give informed consent on that.
It's disgusting. It's
Or 10, or
paedophilia.
11, or
Call
12,
it what
or
it is.
13, or 14, or
Call it
15.
what it is. It's paedophilia. That's what it is. It's disgusting. It's horrible. Now, here's a much bigger question, and I'm going to pose it to everybody, and I'm going to start with you, Neil. Are we better off to ignore it all and get on with the bubble of our lives? And I don't use the word bubble in a negative way. Our lives, let's get on with it. Or are we better off to see what the hell is actually going on?
I'd say it's good to be informed, to have an understanding of what's actually going on, but without becoming embroiled in it.
But you have to pick a side. Ultimately, you're going to have to pick a side. You know that. There won't be any neutrality. There won't. You're going to have to choose.
Okay, so what's my choice?
You'll see when it happens. That's all we can say. Kimmy, who is always full of the joys of spring, literally, she's always happy, to be correctly informed. Correct. To be correctly informed. We can't trust mainstream media. You can't. You know they're pushing a narrative. You know that. Everything is twisted. Extraordinary. I can't trust the BBC News. My God. God, I can't trust the BBC News. You just sit there screaming at the screen. It's horrendous. To be correctly informed, to do some due diligence, to see what the hell's really going on. Unbelievable. It's a very worrying time. I just want to get on with my life. But I fear that could be curtailed.
Is anyone directly stopping you?
I now feel, since Starmer came into power, that I could not truly... No, I have to watch every single thing that I both say and I post, for fear that the police, who can't sort things out if you got like your car stolen, burglary, all the other things that they're kind of meant to do, have got nothing else to do but come around and discuss your social media. I don't know, as I'm sitting here now, that some little job's worth won't say, I don't like this program. I don't like this at all. How do we know?
But posting hateful things on Facebook against groups of people is illegal, isn't it? It's malicious communication.
Is it? How do you know how many times I have reported posts on Twitter? Do you know? Hundreds. We've looked into it and we can't. Jesus, they're calling for certain people to die. But that's okay. It's incredible. It's incredible.
Yeah, but people will only respond when it serves them. The government, this is their hot potato at the moment, so they're going to respond because it serves them. Other things that don't directly affect them, they probably won't be too bothered about, will they? Or it's not going to be high on their priority list. It's human nature, isn't it?
Well, let me tell you something. Back, you're a lot younger than me, so you may not remember the Prime Minister Harold Wilson. You've heard
I remember the name.
Wilson? All right. Well, I lived through the Wilson government. Okay. Harold Wilson, Labour Prime Minister. And he thought he was becoming paranoid. He thought he was being bugged and he was being followed. And he got more and more paranoid about this. Turned out he was right, because certain forces within the UK were so concerned that he was a Kremlin stooge, was so concerned he was a communist spy, that the army were ready to step in. True. The army were ready to step in. The plot, I don't really like calling it a plot, but this move was seen, and the people who were part of this army group were quietly, very quietly moved sideways. And the matter wasn't made public till many, many years later. But it's true. I would not be surprised. It would not surprise me in the least if the same thing is not being planned now with contingency plans. It wouldn't surprise me at all. At all. It wouldn't. Nobody wants that. We live in a democracy. We go with our little stubby pencil. We go into some little rickety booth in our village hall, our church hall, whatever it is, and we do a tick and we go home, have a cup of tea and a digestive biscuit. That's what we do. That's the British way. Up to a point. Dave Sleep makes a very good... I'm sorry, is this... I know this is probably very heavy. It's just how I feel. I'm just getting it off my chest. I'd love to live in a world united by peace, happiness, and genuine kindness. Yeah. But the world leans on the absurd, chaos, and the egregiousness of humanity.
Yes. And I'm kind of getting bored with that. That's the thing. I'm not really interested.
In what? What you're not interested
in, like Asa says, jumping on the absurd, jumping on the ridiculous. Yeah, for comedy purposes, great.
Yeah, comedy purposes.
But to live your life by it, it's absolutely ridiculous.
Dave
Call me selfish. I'd rather focus on my life.
I'm so angry, I'm finding it hard to. Dave Sleet says it is illegal. It is illegal, but the neutrality of enforcement and justice has been removed. We don't feel, no, some people do not feel that the police are our friends anymore. We feel they are simply an arm of the government. That's not good. It's not good at all. And with the passage of time, each of these things are shown to be built on sand. Built on sand. I don't know what to do about it. I don't know what to do. That's why I throw myself into my work. To get away from it.
Right. Now we're talking.
Yeah. But it informs your work as well. Not when I'm a celebrant. I love doing that. I could do it all the time. Well, I mean, I have a very, very busy 2 weeks.
I think you've just answered your own question.
Which is
what do I do about it? And the answer is focus on what you're really good at and what makes you happy, which is your work and celebrancy. Because I'll bet when you're eulogizing someone's life and I've seen you do stand-up comedy. I've heard you on radio. I've never seen you do celebrancy, but I think I'm pretty safe ground to say you'd be bloody good at it. Because you're extremely articulate and you're compassionate. That's pretty much the ingredients of a good celebrant.
It means a lot to me. I take huge care in every eulogy that I write.
Yes, I bet you do.
I really do.
And I do not doubt that. I do not doubt that. So you ask what you can do. If you're doing that, I bet when you're in full flow, when I'm in full flow DJing, I'm not thinking about the problems of the world. I'm present in that moment.
That's true.
And this is where it comes. And this is where mindfulness comes in. You're in the moment. You're responding in the moment, and you're responding on your actions in the moment, not anyone else.
It's a weird thing. I always tried not to be the most alive, but that's the only time I feel really alive. Is when I'm working. Isn't that shocking? Shocking admission. It's always been the case. That's when I'm most alive.
No, but what's wrong with that? What is wrong with the feeling of aliveness?
Because it's work. But
no, it's not work. It's plurk. It's what you love to do. It's half play, half work.
Oh, it's
It's
not
not.
play. Oh, it's not play. No, 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 no. It's not play. Writing my novel is not play. That is bloody hard work. Being a celebrant for weddings and funerals and everything is not play. I don't play at it. I take it desperately seriously.
Okay, I didn't mean play as in frivolous.
Hmm.
I meant play as in creative, light-hearted at times, flow,
Yes.
putting your
Yeah.
creative energy into it.
Yeah.
That's what I mean by play. I didn't mean frivolity.
Okay. Thank you for explaining that. I get it now. Yeah, I know. When do you feel most relaxed?
Well, I'm really drunk. No.
Well, I don't really drink that. I mean, I drink, but I don't drink like that much. So, when do you feel
And I
most
feel alive
relaxed?
when I work as well. I feel alive if I do a great DJ set or doing this or just anything that plays to my skill set, if you like.
Yeah.
And I would advise anyone to do that because I come back to the point. You just posed a really good question, but then answered it. What do I do? And the answer is focus on what you're doing already.
It's a two-part question.
Because
I know this is very deep today. I wasn't intending it.
But only you can control your focus. Only you can choose what you give your attention to.
Longie, there's two things here. What can I do for myself, and what can I do for the country I love? Two separate things. What can I do for myself? What can I do for myself is try and be kind to myself. I'm useless. I'm utterly useless at that.
Well, that's a good starting point.
Yeah, but anyone who knows that, who knows me, knows I'm utterly useless about it. Throw myself into my work because I love it, and that's me. That's me. Make sure family's okay, and everything like that. That's fine. All right, but I feel that's selfish. You're going to go mad because I know that's a word you hate, but I feel it's selfish because I love this country. I was born here, my parents, my grandparents, because, it's a great country.
All right. So you're saying doing what you love in a country that you love is selfish?
No.
Would you say I'm selfish to do stand-up comedy?
No. You didn't. I think you've misunderstood. What I'm saying is I'm just standing on the sidelines and letting lunatics do terrible things. I feel terrible about that.
Oh, well, jump in and go and save them then. Go and sort it out.
Well, it's easy to be glib and say something like that. Of course I can't face down a mob.
Right. But that's what I'm saying. So given that you can't do that, why would anyone give so much of their energy to that when it's clearly
because I see how this is going to end, Neil. I see how this is going to end, and it's not going to be good. It's not going away.
Okay, but do you think you make more of a difference in the world by coming on here and getting it off your chest and getting really upset about it, or doing what you're really, really good at? Maybe maybe you don't have to have the mass appeal. Maybe it's just good enough to do personally. There's a story about starfish. I read it in some profound book I read once. And there's a guy who's walking along the beach and the starfish are washed up. Yeah. And he's picking them up, throwing them back in, one at a time. But there's thousands and thousands. The problem is greater than he can ever solve. And someone says, why are you bothered? How can that make a difference? And he went, made a difference to that one. So
yes, I get that. When I was involved with Variety, now called a children's charity, but it was Variety Club, right? And I turned to somebody very wise called Marsha Ray Ratcliffe, and I say, how do we do this? How do we deal with this? The demands from so many thousands of children and families for underprivileged or handicapped children. And she said to me, we deal with it one child at a time.
One starfish at a time.
Yeah, it's this, yeah.
One eulogy at a time. One novel at a time.
But that's not going to... That's going to help that individual, if you like.
Right. And that's all we can do. If each one help one individual, then you've got a transformed world.
I think Asa has summed it up. We need real and authentic leadership. We need proper leadership.
Do you know what the
Not
statistics are for people that hate their jobs? They're ridiculously high. Do you know the cycle most people are stuck in? I read a brilliant book called Sober on a Drunk Planet, and it's a guy. I'd love to get him on here. Actually, he was addicted to alcohol and
get
cocaine.
him. Go get
I
him.
want to, and he's written the best book I've ever read that makes the case for giving up drinking and drugs. If anyone
Yeah.
does that,
Well,
it's
I
a
don't touch
brilliant,
drugs. I never have.
brilliant book. And he says most people are stuck in this rut of going to a job they hate, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, go out Thursday, or Wednesday, have a drink, hump day, Thursday, weekend warm-up day, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, on the sofa or down the pub, Monday, crawl into work, you spent too much money, hungover, and do the bare minimum to get through.
Yeah.
What do you think is more useful to society? That, or what he's doing now, which is a fitness trainer? Is he solving the world's problems? No. Is he making a difference to some people? Yes. Has he improved his own life through self-love and self-care? Yes. That's all any of us can do. But it's enough. Because if he
But
inspires
not
one other
everybody
person
has
to
the
do that,
wherewith. Not everybody has. We're metropolitan people, born and raised here, right? If you and I'm acting as devil's advocate. If you're born and raised in, I don't know, some real working town out in America in the Rust Belt, where your father, your grandfather, and his father before him has worked in the local plant because that's what you do. It is really, really hard and tough to break that cycle because you can't see a world beyond it. You and I, we look around and we have a smorgasbord of possibilities, of opportunities, of things because we're not, we're open to it. And we live in one of the greatest cities in the world. If you're living in some really like West Virginia mining town or something, and I've been to these places, dear God.
I agree.
Wow.
It comes back to Asa Don
They're
Brown.
hardcore.
It needs authentic leadership to see the opportunities but you have to ask yourself, do these people want to do something different?
In their heart, of course they do. Well, they wouldn't know how to. They wouldn't know how to. They're born and raised in that. What I'm saying is we have the luxury of looking at these intellectual opportunities that you present far more than I do because you read these books and I read crime novels because that makes me happy, right?
Do more of that as well.
Oh, I do. I've just started a new one. It's sensationally good. So
true crime?
No, never read true crime. No, don't read true crime. My new novel is driving me around the bend. It is driving me nuts. I finished it last December, right? And we're going through so many reiterations of it. Do you remember in the music industry? I'm going to change the subject because I thought I'm going to slip my wrist. In the music industry, you'd have things that became popular, and everybody said, "Oh, we need the new Take." Oh, they're just like Take That. We get another. It went in waves, didn't it?
Yep.
You'd have. It was there. You had to be that style of music. Well, what many people don't know, and why would you? Because it's not your industry. Is the publishing industry is exactly the same. It goes in cycles. So you had certain genres of books that sold by the bucket load, and then the publishers said, no, it's not selling anymore, the new thing. So it all became cozy crime, right? The Janice Halletts, the Sophie Hannahs, the Richard Osmans, the cozy crime, direct descendants of the magnificent Agatha Christie, greatest crime writer of all time. Right. So, cozy crime. So my book, I wanted to write a crime book, right? It has taken so long with re-editings and the changes and everything like that. So my agent gets hold of me last week. How would you feel about this? Whenever he starts a conversation.
How would you feel?
Russ, hi. How would you feel if? And I go, I think, oh, Jesus, what now? Well, I've been to all the publishing houses and, because he represents a lot of people, right? And he's very good. They don't want any more crime novels. What? I've just spent like 2 years on this. No, they're exhausted with it. They got them coming out the wazoo. Guess what they want? I said, I don't know. Give me a clue. Horror. I said, well, if they want horror, they can have the Gatekeeper, because that's. I said, horror? But like 2-3 years ago, we had a whole conversation. The horror genre, gone. Couldn't give them any shelf space. Now, horror's back. So guess what? Edit number 537 coming up. It's like.
Can I do a quick shout out to Fat Scotty? I've got a message. Scotty, have I got your attention? There we go.
Hey. Oh, hey, the new. Hey, the new. Next Monday.
Yeah. And
you are going to like this. Seriously, you will. I was at school with a guy, well, boys we were, called Patrick Humphreys. Fantastic guy. And when Patrick was 14, they took his leg off because of cancer. Right? And it's never stopped him. And he's become one of the great authors, one of the great authorities of music in the UK. He's a fabulous guy. We reconnected a few years ago because we hadn't seen each other for decades. And then we reconnected and we have lunch, and he's an amazing guy. And you will love him. And next Monday, he's coming on to talk about his new book about the Beatles. So when I last had lunch with him, I said, are you going to tell me there is yet another book about the Beatles? That what can we not have already heard 50,000 times? He says, wait. So if you love the Beatles and you love music, and just come and meet Patrick. I just love this guy. He is. But
it goes back to the conversation earlier. He hasn't solved the
inspiring.
world's problems, but he's inspired people. He's inspired you.
Inspired me.
Maybe that's enough. But what if he sits there thinking, I bet he doesn't sit there thinking, oh, I'm not really doing enough for the world.
Let me tell you something. Mr.
Your
Big
guest
Shot.
last Wednesday.
Let me tell you something, Mr. Big Shot.
Well, let me tell you something too, Mr. Big Shot.
No, I'm going to tell you something first, Mr. Big Shot. Patrick phones me up when we're going to discuss it on Monday. In the last 3 weeks, Patrick's lost 7 close friends. Just died. And he phoned me up and he was feeling really, we have long sort of intellectual conversations. Then the conversations go back to when we're 14. You're a poo. No, you're a bigger poo. I mean, because we've known each other forever. We can do that sort of thing. It's, we all need someone to speak. But he's inspired me. I mean, he inspires me. When I see the difficulties in his life physically, if we're going to eat, we're going to have lunch. If we have lunch, right, it never occurs to me, and this is shame on me, I got to find somewhere, or he will choose, that's flat, that has a toilet, that is not a million steps, all these things, because Patrick will be most usually in a wheelchair. Not always, but most usually in a wheelchair. And I'm thinking, and then he's such an intellect, such an interesting guy. I think you'll love it on Monday.
I'm looking forward to it. Scotty, if you would like to do Wednesday, I'll drop you a text after this because we have each other's phone numbers. So I'll drop you a text.
You'll be on Radio Clyde before you know it. Welcome back, Neil. Lovely to see you.
The old boy. Stage.
Now, David's saying this. I feel your pain. Finding my peace had the same pinball of publishing. Oh, yeah. It's just like, when are you going to catch? What do they talk about the wheel? What was that thing about? Life is a wheel. You come up to the top and then you go back and then it goes back. And it's like, you just got to hit it right when that trend is at that peak.
Yeah.
It's a funny thing, though, isn't it? It doesn't really help creatively, but it's I just hope I live long enough. I just want to live long enough to see this damn book published so I can get on with the next one, which is already 40,000. Well, yeah, hopefully. So. Where are you now, by the way? You're in a different room.
Oh, I am. I'm at the head office of
It's very nice. It's very good, and the reception and the light and everything is great. It's terrific.
yeah, yes, I'm at the head office of Black Boy Motors.
I noticed you put that up. I waited an hour before I mustered the courage to say, "What is that?" I really wish I hadn't asked, but I have.
It's a wonderful thing. I'll explain another time.
Oh dear God. Okay,
I'll
but I'm
explain
already nervous.
But it blends humour and business, and they are very good at what they do. In a good way.
Now? Okay. What, you go there for an MOT and they charge you £800 because that's the joke?
No, quite the opposite. Quite the opposite.
I love it. Neil, thank you. Thank you, everybody, for your comments. You are encouraging and you are just marvelous people. Neil will be back possibly with Scott Lyons on Wednesday, and I'll be back with the gang with Phil, Dave, and Chantel on Friday. Until then,
have a great week. Good afternoon.
Yep. Careful what you post. Bye.